yule mtu lazima awe amekuwa mkazi wa Kangemi kwa muda isiyopita miezi ngapi? Miezi ngapi? Na lazima atoe ushahidi kwamba yeye amekuwa mkazi wa hapa, ndio sababu anataka kufanya nini? Kuhamisha upigaji kura wake katika kituo chochote within Kangemi, within Westlands, from another constituency. That's the law. So for now, sisi tunazingatia hawa vijana wetu ambao walimaliza form 4 juzi, wale wengine ambao kwa sababu moja ama nyingine hawangeweza kujisajili kama wapiga kura, hao ndio sisi tunawazingatia. Na tungetaka kwamba ninyi muweze kuwaleta watu wale kwa wingi, na wakija kwa wengi, nyinyi mtakuwa munajiongezea ile opportunity ya kuweza kupata another electoral area. Sawa sawa? Si nimewaambia wards na constituencies ni kazi ya IEBC. So tukifanya hii mzuri, hata hiyo kazi nyingine tutafanya mzuri.
For this process, as we begin the process of voter registration and mapping of our constituency, so that we can get a new polling center that will enable the voters in Kangemi to vote without being left out. So I think I'll follow the procedure. I'll be here for some time before I go. So I just want to say I'm happy to be here. I want to listen a bit, then maybe I'll speak later. Thank you very much.
Kuongezea sababu tumeweza the issue is tuko na polling centers 3 ambazo nia yetu ni moja, ku decongest, kwa sababu we know very well ya kwamba kila mmoja ako na right ya kuvote. Hakuna haja mtu akuja pange line kuanzia saa 8 usiku hadi saa 11 aende nyumbani bila kupiga kura. Lazima apige kura. Sioni haja, hiyo ni maoni yangu, sioni haja ya kuongeza polling centers mingi out of the 3. Ninatuma proposal moja. Ninaomba Kiumbuini primary na new Kiumbuini ziko overloaded, zina overflow. Maombi yangu ni kwamba tukubaliane hizo shule mbili zote to decongest zote kwa pamoja, tuweke grounds, Kiumbuini grounds.
Sisi kama wana Kangemi tuongezeo polling center moja ambayo inaweza kukua pale Anandamanga Secondary School, kwa sababu iweze kushika wale watu wako huko chini. Ukikuwa kama hapa social hall siku ya voter kura ikipigwa, utapata kukua line inaendanga mpaka huko bottom line chini. Ni uongo ama ni kweli watu wa bottom? Na hiyo kitu inafanya watu wengi wanaogopa hata kupiga kura, wanaacha. Na ni kupiga kura iko kwa katiba yetu. It's our democratic right watu tuweze kupiga kura.
Mchambo tena, mimi yangu ni kwamba nitaongea baadaye, lakini nimemkaribisha hapa ili tuweze kusaidiana in one way or the other, ndio tusonge mbele pamoja. Naitwa Paul Mahamba, area MCA. Thank you so much.
Maurice Ochieng, MCA Mountain View. Asanteni sana.
Sasa watu wa Sodom, watu wa bottom line, waruko huko chini, makaburini, tuwekee polling station moja tu, Memorial Park. Hiyo tu imetosha, itatusaidia.
Hizi polling stations, ukiangalia Kitasuru na uangalie Mountain View, they have 6. And we only have 3. We only have 3. So we need more. We should be talking about of 3 new polling stations, not 2. So that we look at each area. Kama ni Sodom, tuwatafutie yao hapo karibu. Kama ni sisi hapa, tupunguziwe hapa chini. Na makaburi tuwapatie ingine moja. So we should not limit ourselves to 1 or 2 new, even 3.
Kule chini watu wanaishi Waroko na watu wanaishi pale Sodom. Wengi wanaendanga kuchukulia kura zao pale 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗏 wakifikiria ni Westlands. Meaning Westlands is losing so many voters wakifikiria ati juu hiyo polling station iko karibu ni yetu. Nasema tuwekewe pale kwanza makaburini polling station moja, alafu polling station ya pili ambayo pia tunapoteza wale watu wako pale chini panaitwa Anandamanga. Wale watu inabidi watoke huku kwetu waende kupiga kura pale 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗖 primary, kwa sababu 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗖 yani ni karibu kushinda huku juu penye tuko saizi. So mkituwekea pale Nandamanga primary ingine moja, itakuwa ni furaha yetu kabisa.
As we said, we are expecting not less than 10,000 new voters in Westlands. So we need 2 or 3. Yeah? Note that Nandamanga is a private school. And our chief, Bwana Rufus, that's why I'm looking for him, he was to call the director of the school and find out if they have to, they can agree. If they are agreeable. Are we together? Yes. Commission may, with prior arrangement with the owner, use private facilities where, in the opinion of the commission, public facilities are unavailable, inadequate, or unsuitable.
The only practical way to move forward is by memorial. And memorial will decongest, that will be a new one. Decongestion, if that is the law, then we are also limited. Because the chief is not here to tell us kama ameongelesha Christ the King, ama Akiba, those are private entities. But if churches, I don't know how you can do it, you follow up later, we can agree. Christ the King is sawa, Akiba ni sawa, but given what you've just said, watu wote tunakubaliana, pale makaburini, it is okay.
Decongest Kangemi Social Hall, Catholic Church Christ the King. We have agreed. So our chief, please note, our chief is following up. So if the church does not agree, we cannot use it. So if it so happens, you find out that Catholic is not available in the list of centers, mujue kanisa haikukubali. Sawa sawa? Akiba. Keep an open talks with Akiba? Yes. So we must decongest social hall with either of the two, eh? Aya, tumeelewana. For the bottom line and Sodom residents, we are creating a new one. Do we agree on Kangemi? Yes. Do we agree on Kangemi Memorial Park? Yes. Thank you so much.
There were some few issues on St. Joseph Primary, because it's a private institution, but we have already resolved, and they have no problem. I think, Madam Arrow, there's no problem at St. Joseph Primary. It will remain a polling station. What we are requesting, if we can also be added some other polling stations. We can decongest St. Joseph Primary. We have Kangemi Vocational Center. That's one. Then Kangemi High is also congested. So we can look for another place, put it to be a polling station. I think we have Kangemi Youth. There's Kangemi Youth. Those are proposals. There's Kangemi Youth, and there is St. Joseph Technical. So that when we have the new voter registration, we educate them to go to the new polling stations, because the existing polling stations are congested.
Mountain View Ward, we are adding Kangemi Vocational Center. But also let's note the mobilizers for Kangemi Mountain View Ward. Let's advise our voters to move to Kangemi Primary School. Let's avoid new voters registering at Kangemi High School. And there's also an issue there that I need to talk to the principal. The name change from Kangemi Secondary School to Kangemi Boys High School. Kitusuru iko sawa, si ndio? Kitusuru iko sawa. Kuna shida Kitusuru ward? Have someone tell us why, someone who can help us understand why people are registering at Westlands Primary School in huge numbers but not Bora Primary. They are next to each other. Somebody please help us understand.
I think I know why people register more in Westlands Primary than these other centers. One, Westlands Primary is very central. Number two, people who register there are people who work around Westlands CBD. And you find that most of those people work within the CBD, but they come from very far away. So they find Westlands Primary to be more convenient for them, so that they can go and vote and go back to work, or just go and register. And normally they have a register around Sarit Center when they are doing registration. I think that explains why we have more people there.
Joseph highlighted that the people who used to vote at Karura Forest were evacuated. Karura Forest Primary School at Karura, there was an evacuation of the residents. And the number of voters is 2,000. Yes, so what is that? Yes, yes.
With Karura ward, we are okay. Sisi hatutaki kuongezewa. The only thing we can do to decongest 𝗤𝗏𝗃𝗏 Primary School that has, we only have 2 polling stations with over 8,000 registered voters. That is 𝗤𝗏𝗃𝗏 Primary School and Hospital Hill. What you can do, Madam, you can increase the number of streams in during voting period. Ukiongeza hizo streams, if they are 11, you can increase them maybe from 11 to 15 or 16, but the polling stations remains the same. That way you will have decongest, because once you go to 𝗤𝗏𝗃𝗏 Primary School, tuko na kiwanja kubwa sana chini huko ukizunguka. Huruma is a little bit tricky because we have 3,000 around 3,000 2,000. Yes, but if you check during that voting period, the IEBC hawajai provide enough security. So watu wengi wako na a lot of issues going to vote in mji wa Huruma. So that is the reason why utapata mji wa Huruma is just next to 𝗤𝗏𝗃𝗏 Primary School, but people prefer voting to 𝗤𝗏𝗃𝗏 Primary School than going to mji wa Huruma. For Karura Forest Primary, hao askari wenye upiga kura hapo wanapewa transfer. Kama saizi kuna the new askaris watakuja during this time, unaenda kuregister wapiga kura, utapata kuna wapiga kura wengi sana wapi wamekuja kuvote, and it's also decongest the other side of Muthaiga. Unajua tuko na so many people who are working within Muthaiga area kama gardeners nini, and they prefer voting the other side. So that polling station wacha tuibaki hivyo. During voter registration, instead ya kukaa 𝗤𝗏𝗃𝗏 Primary School that is a little bit upper side, tunaweza ingia Githogoro. Tulikuwa tunawaomba kama mnaweza ingia Githogoro muende mregister voters at Baptist Primary School, kwa sababu tunapata wale wapiga kura wenye wanaishi 72 wana move to Kiambu County, wanaenda pale Kasarini. Kuna vijana wengi sana wamemaliza KCPE, KCSE from 2016 mpaka saa hizi. Hawa ndo wanajiita mabogi mtaani. Hawa vijana hawana ID. So for us to have to achieve at least a good voter registration, we have to start also registering youth sama kuwapatia vitambulisho. Asanteni sana.
Regulation 13. We have the 2012 regulations for voter registration. We are talking about voter registration regulations. We have 2012, but then we also have 2017 amendments. Are we together? We have 2017, and I said we did not implement because the amendments came in less than a year to general elections. So this is a new thing that is coming up for 2022, 2021, 2022, and I will read as it is. Election Regulation 27, Amendments 2017, 13C, transfer of registration. A voter, those on the stakeholder WhatsApp forum can open. I have shared. Those on the WhatsApp stakeholder forum can share and read. A voter is not qualified to transfer his or her registration unless at the date of his or her application to be transferred, he or she was ordinarily resident in that constituency 6 months immediately preceding the date of his or her application for transfer. Tumesikia hiyo? We are restricting transfer of voters' applications at the office, at the constituency office. The reason being, in 2016-2017, watu walikuwa wanachukua ID za watu, hata kwa M-Pesa, they would bribe some clerks, they would have photocopy transfer forms, and feel like transfers for 1,000 people at a go. It did not happen in Westlands, but it happened in Garissa, Wajir, some other places. And then you find you are transferred without your knowledge.
Tukiangalia hii sheria vizuri, hii sheria kuimplement in Nairobi will be very difficult. To implement, because the dynamics in Nairobi are different from the rural areas. People who are voting here today, who voted here last time, they could have moved to Kibra, they could have moved to Mathare, they could be somewhere else. Number two, most of these voters, for example, let me give an example of a constituency like Starehe. Most of the voters of Starehe don't live in Nairobi. They come from out, but they work in town. They have businesses in town. So if we go with this Sharia, we are going to defranchise those people. So we must be very careful about how we are going to deal with it in Nairobi, because people in Nairobi, there's a lot of movement. People move out because maybe now the area is not conducive for them. They look for cheaper options, like this corona has brought a lot of issues. So I'm very sure that when we go to the issue, what I'm against is people transferring from the same constituency from one ward to another ward, because that one does not make any sense. There are people who move people from Mountain View, bring them to Kangemi, Kangemi to Mountain View, to Kituzuru, like that. That one confuses people. But there are people who come who have moved now permanently, staying in Westlands, but previously it was in Kibera, or is working in Westlands most of the time is here. They do business here, the market here, but they don't stay here. So that one, I believe, is going to bring a lot of confusion, and it will be very hard to implement. Even when director, if you go to present documents, like for example, you propose an affidavit will be very expensive, even for the voter or for yourself. You cannot afford. Because ordinarily, to swear an affidavit costs about 500 shillings. Who will go to that extent? So it is a law, but we must look at it with a little bit more careful in Nairobi and maybe other urban areas, because the movement of people is so much. And also the place of work, I think we'd not consider that, because people work here, but they don't stay here. And we find it's convenient for them to register the nearest place where they work. Like, for example, these are askari wa usiku na mchana. Sasa muda anaishi Kibera, but he works at Safaricom. Atapata raisi yeye register hapo Mukuka Green, badala ya kwenda kuregister huko penye hakuangi.
Also suggest what I think will be easiest is to do a small declaration form from my end and have it available for photocopying. Discussed even in the national stakeholders forums, and still the commission has decided that transfers will be done by the RO-DRO.
As people of Westlands, let us not have ward-to-ward transfer. How are we going to make more voters, new voters? And when we transfer from Mountain View to Kangemi, as it has been explained, are we adding value? No. And we are here to add value.
Also, if we put in place those restrictions that there is no transfer of votes from Kangemi to Mountain View, it is a violation that we are denying our people their rights. Because as a leader, we leaders, we serve people beyond boundaries. Now, maybe somebody called me from Mountain View, I assisted him. Now he decided that next time I'll vote for you. The same applies to my colleague, maybe. Now, it is not good to deny our people what is their rights.
Our focus is to add numbers for the new voters. Are we together? So if you as a politician, you focus on ward-to-ward transfers, you're not adding value to our register. That is zero registration. 3 BVR kits per ward. So how many wards do we have? 5. Westlands will have 15 BVR kits and an extra one at the office. So there will still be continuous registration at the office. So the office will have a 16th kit with 2 clerks so that the DRO and the RO can do transfers. Sawa sawa? And then the other thing, for the administrative side, we'll have those in charge of we'll have one ICT constituency officer. We are calling them voter registration assistants, someone in charge of the ward to coordinate the clerks. So each kit will have 2 clerks. 2 clerks will be manning a kit. Number 2, a registered party shall notify the commission in writing of the names of its designated representatives. Okay? 3, any person, association, or organization may apply to the commission, and when it's talking of commission, you're talking of headquarters. Commission to be allowed to observe the registration of voters and revision of the register of voters and to verify the accuracy of the register. 4, representatives of the media shall have the right to observe registration process and to access the registration centers. There must be evidence that you're from that media. Last 5, every individual observing the registration of voters and the revision of register of voters shall comply with any guidelines issued by the commission respecting the conduct of such observation. How you go about observation is the registration officer who will...
To Westlands, let us concentrate on new voter registration. Let us minimize on this issue of transfers, because sometimes transfers creates a lot of confusion, especially from ward to ward. Last year, I remember there were people who were moved from Kangemi to Kitusuru and ended up not voting because he forgot that he is still a voter in Kangemi, but amekuja kukiu Kangemi, but voter yake iko wapi? Iko Loresho primary. So for us, if you want to help your candidate, you want to help somebody who is running for an MCA, look for young people. There are so many of them here. Peleke wachukue kura. Wacha kuhamisha mtu kutoka Kangemi, upeleke Mountain View, ama from Mountain View to Kitusuru and vice versa. Sawa sawa? Because hiyo, as the Rose has said, you are not adding any value. Let us increase the numbers by bringing in new voters. And there are so many of them out there. Hata hizo number tukileta wote, it will subside hiyo 10,000. Na kitu ingine, let us also have, Madam Arrow, maybe those kids, they should not be permanently at one place. We could moving them to maybe some other, we can locate areas in every ward that maybe today, 2 days in a particular place, then another day in a particular place, like that, so that people don't, because some wards are so big, like Karura and Kitusuru, people moving from Mwimuto, from wherever, going to just one center, it will be very cumbersome for them, or very expensive. So if those kids can be moving in a week, maybe 2 days someplace, 1 day another place like that, then it will help people to have easy registration. Lastly, I also just want to appeal, because as I look here, I don't see people who oppose us. They have not come to participate. So when we are registering people, wasikuja walete siasa, si ndio? Then sana, and I wish you all the best. God bless you.